What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the RapnWrestle podcast. Make sure you follow on Instagram, on Twitter at RapnWrestle. Today is a very, very special day. That's how I'm starting off all my episodes. It's a very special day. Every day I get a new guest is a special day. But with this person right here, this person has been very pivotal in helping myself, my partner Andrew with Wrestling IQ 101, Monsta Mack, one half of one of the greatest tag teams of all time, the Hit Squad, one of the greatest in-ring competitors. He won't say it or take credit for it. He has helped tons of guys. Monsta Mack, welcome to RapnWrestle. It's good to have you here, man.
What up, D-Rock? How you doing, man?
You know I'm good, man. You know I'm always good. I'm always good when I'm talking to you. I'll put it like that.
I always say one of the best things I love about talking to you and Andrew is that whenever we do any podcast, it's not like a podcast. It's like just 2-3 guys talking, shooting the breeze, and it's mad relaxed. So, I don't expect anything less with this new venture you're doing. And, I can't wait to talk about music and wrestling with you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, try to, a lot of times I know we talked on Wrestling IQ 101. We briefly talk about the rap, and, we're more heavy on the wrestling. So it's going to be good to, kind of get your thoughts on both. And since, everything's been going on with quarantine and COVID and everything, just how have you been, like, adjusting and like, what have you been up to for this whole time since the last time we talked?
So, I got a regular job in a secret location, kayfabe capital. But I've been working pretty much the entire time. I haven't had any days off. And I've actually lost, not through death or anything like that, but I've lost like workers due to financial loss. And, it's been stressful, but, I've been doing my thing to make sure I keep my sanity, especially now that wrestling is coming back slowly for me. Not really rushing into it. This is my 23rd year in the business, and, my body definitely not the young lion that it used to be, but I still go out there. I recently had a great match with one of the young up-and-coming guys, Rick Recon. I had a match with the son of JP, Jake Cage, son of Fat Frank, one of my boys, someone who I've seen since he was like 2 years old, and I got to share the ring with him. And, so like stuff like that is cool. But honestly, what I've been doing is learning how to modify and, modify arcades and video game systems, and learning how to actually, I've been taking classes on how to create my own video games. So I keep telling you guys, that's my goal, is to create my own video game. And, one of the do that. But while I'm doing that, just trying to get into as much music as possible and, keep me relaxed and sane. And, it's weird because someone like me, I'm 41 years old, and the new generation of music is hard to listen to.
Yeah.
I recently discovered, and it sucks because he's gone, Pop Smoke, who, I mean, he's dope.
He's tough.
I really enjoy his music. He's definitely got like a 2000s G Unit vibe to him. So like just guys like that. My daughter, who's 6 turning 7, she's very into music, and I'm actually getting some influence from her, and she put me on to Tones and I with Dance Monkey, and like I love that vibe, you know what I mean? My daughter, she's, like I said, she's 6. She don't really know much about the world, but she's got her own deal going on. She's mad chill, and like I can't wait till she's older and listen to music and just chill, you know what I mean? Because that's something that from when I was a kid I love doing, and I'm sure we'll get into it in a second, but I just like, that's basically what's been going on this summer, listening to a lot of freestyle house from the 80s and 90s, TKA and K7, and me and my boy Guapo, we go back and forth about what songs to throw on, and it's pretty awesome that I have friends that understand that vibe. So like for me, like the best part of the day is when I get to talk music, like with my boy Guapo, and we just BS and go back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's dope, man. See, I always liked that about you. I knew you were like you're heavy into the hip hop, and I mean, you can even kind of see the influence of hip hop on you as a wrestler and even, you know, the Hit Squad as well. I felt like, you know, you guys were, you know, were heavy with the hip hop vibes when you guys were, you know, wrestling together. You're talking about the video game. What exactly do you want to do with the video game? Like what type of theme or would you have it be?
So it's crazy because this being the summer of Streets of Rage 4, you know, all about a brawler. I would make a fighting game, but it's a little complicated. You know, but with a brawler, you know, you assign a set amount of moves, and you know, it's not too crazy with the programming and with the animation and stuff like that. But you know, to be honest, like I know some of my boys are in video games, but you know, not all of us are in video games. So I would like to have like just me and my crew, you know, the 5, 6 of us, maybe a little bit more, you know, extended, maybe get some of my other friends like, you know, Pazuzu and stuff like that in the game. But, you know, and even you and Andrew would be in the game. You know what I mean? Like,
that'd be dope.
but like, I just want to make it where it's the people that are in my world and just see what happens. Like I have something set. And I talked to a couple of people about it, what I was thinking about, and they all are like, I can't wait to play this game. This game's going to be so fat. So, like, you know, I have a little bit of expectation. The only thing I told them was, listen, I'm not rushing. I'm taking my time because it's one of those things where, you know, I have so much other stuff going on. I can't just dedicate all of my time to it. If I could, I'd have it done within a year easy. But, you know, hopefully within the next 5 to 8 years, I'll have something. You know, maybe a mobile phone game or maybe just a ROM to just play on an emulator and, you know what I mean? Call it a day. But, like, I'm not going to make money off of it. I'm just looking to create something for me, you know?
Yeah, no, that'll be dope. That'll, right now, I wouldn't consider myself a gamer, but I'm like, I play like a solid 4 games. I'm like straight into, like, games out today. Old school stuff, I'm all day. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Mega Man, Mario Brothers. I'm down with all that stuff. It's like right to nowadays is like, you know, I'm just playing with my son, NBA 2K, WWE, UFC, stuff like that. So you can help broaden my horizon on, on some of these games. For sure.
Part of the reason why I'm into modding arcade games is because Arcade 1-Up brought out that line of smaller arcade cabinets. And, you know, like they have a Street Fighter. The one that I really want to get is the NBA Jam one that just came out. I just been in between houses, so like I don't have you know, the space to put it anywhere. But once I do, it's what's up because it's got Wi-Fi connectability and you can play against whoever else has it and look for your boys. You know what I mean? So, you know, I strongly suggest you picking one up and
go
at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that'll definitely be dope. Now you talked a little bit about wrestling opening back up, and you know. You've been doing some work with Titan Championship Wrestling with Billy Fesky and Charlie as well. Both of those guys, 2 good guys that are friends of mine and Andrews as well. How has it been working there? And how I haven't talked to a wrestler yet to get like their viewpoint on how it is, the environment of working while, you know, all this craziness is going on with COVID.
So it's a little. It's almost normal up to a point for me. I did the first show I did was a couple of weeks ago, and then I did the back-to-back with the girl show on Friday. I helped in the back, and then the Titan show on the Saturday. And you know, it's a little not. I mean, it's cool to see everybody, and that's the best part. You get to see all the people that you haven't seen in all these months, whatever. And like. First thing you want to do is just take off your mask and just be like, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? But you got to restrain yourself, have self-control. And, you know, there's a couple of times you obviously are walking around and you just forget or, you know, whatever. So, like, that's the part that's weird is you have to constantly remind yourself, oh, I got to put my face mask on or I got to, you know, sanitize and stuff like that. But, you know, it was pretty normal for me. The weird part was really, like, during the week after, like, all right, I got to make it through this week. And then I have another week and it's 2 weeks after the show and then I'm good, you know? So like, I've done that every time I've worked so far. And it's like, Oh man. All right, I'm in. I'm up to Friday of the second week. I'm good. I ain't got nothing. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
and like I said, I've been working regular jobs, so but there's no one in the building, so I don't have to worry about it. There's my 3 people in the office with me. In the rest of the building, where there's normally about 15 people, there's maybe 6. And,
Sure.
hardly see anybody. So, I'm not too worried about it at work. But when I go to wrestling, after the show, I'm like, damn, did I shake somebody's hand? They looked a little suspect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's be real. Wrestling fans always look suspect. So,
Yeah. Facts.
even though it don't matter if it's WWE, TNA, whatever, AEW, or an indie show, all wrestling fans look suspect to me. So,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you're like, all right, did I talk to anybody nearby where they could have coughed or any? So like you're thinking about that. You're not even thinking about the stuff in the ring, because the stuff in the ring for somebody like me, it's second nature. But the new guidelines, social distancing and all that stuff, you worry about it. And especially me having my daughter who's 6, and anybody that I live with or just come in contact with, I'm always like, all right, I got to make sure, I don't do anything to risk their health,
One thing I also, that I thought was just like, talking about bringing things full circle. When you fought Jay Cage, son of Fat Frank, Jersey All Pro Wrestling, just talk about like that moment and just like, what that signified to you. And, I'm pretty sure it was a big moment for Jake. He's a young guy that I love, and I think he's going to do really good in the business. And, I'm wishing the best for him as well. But, what did that mean to you?
It meant a lot, not just because I was wrestling my friend's son, but we were 5 minutes away from where he lived and where he passed away. And I know for Jake, it definitely was something. Um, he grew up watching the Hit Squad, and he always had firsthand access to everybody. Like I said, he was 2 years old running around the locker room, and he wasn't a bad kid. Like some kids, they're horrible kids. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yep.
The son, but he wasn't a bad kid. He was always playing. He always, just being a 5-year-old kid, 6-year-old kid, whatever he was at the time. And, I just, so much of him, I see his dad in him. And it was hard to look at him and see certain faces that his father would make when we would talk. And, I was trying to make him laugh with memories of his dad and just telling silly stories that, now that he's an older, he's a man, I can get away with telling him some of the stuff that I couldn't tell him before because he was a kid, And if you knew Fat Frank was definitely not for kids. He was definitely, rated R. But he was so much fun, and I really miss Frank. So in doing this match, I was very much with Frank in mind, the entire time. And it was very much, when they say like your life flashes before your eyes, Jake's life flashed before my eyes right before we locked up. And I saw the little kid turn into, a high school student, turn into, a young adult. And it's really cool. And like you said, he does have potential. And, he moved down to Florida, to Orlando. And I know he's getting some quality training down there with a couple of guys that I know that I recommended. And I'm really hopeful for him. To be honest, I hope that, he does a couple of things before he gets heavily into wrestling. But listen, you got the bug, there's no stopping you. And, it's one of those things where, you can plan all you want, but, you just never know what's going to happen. And I just hope the best for him. I definitely see a lot of potential in him. And, like I said, it was a good feeling to share the ring with him. It was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Now, being in New York, hip hop is big in New York. It's probably biggest in New York than it is anywhere in the world. So for something I thought of the Hit Squad, and I thought, who would Monsta Mack think of as an equivalent rap group to the Hit Squad? Like who do you think would symbolize you guys as a rap group?
Well, if we're talking about just me and Moff, um, and I'm gonna catch all kinds of jokes, but when we first started feuding with the Haas brothers,
Uh-huh.
Charlie Haas and Russ Haas used to call us Fat Joe and Big Pun.
Oh man,
We'd be in the middle of the match. Come on, Big Pun, what you got? And I love it. You know what I mean? So I could definitely see Fat Joe and Big Pun being Monsta Mack Mafia. But if you're talking about the group, me, Moff, Key, Homicide, I mean, there's no way you could say anybody other than NWA.
Okay,
If you look at the diversity of the group, you know, it matches us to a T, you know. But the thing is, as you know, wrestling and hip hop started to incorporate each other, you know, then a lot of people started saying they were NWA, and you know, kind of like, but you weren't the Hit Squad, you know. But like,
yeah.
can't say nothing. You just, everybody has their own opinions on things, and you just let it be. But more than anybody else, I think NWA represents us as a group. Like I said, diversity of the group, the different styles and different flows. You know, you can compare us. You know, Moff is the facial guy. I'm the, you know, violent guy. Homicide is Homicide. Loki is the professional. You know what I mean? Like, there's different things that you can attach to us, and it fits perfectly. Just like with Eazy-E. Eazy-E is the pimp rapper. You know what I mean? And you know, Ice Cube is the thug rapper, and Dr. Dre is the brain thug. You know what I mean? And you know, Yella is well, I guess now he's a porn director, but you know what I'm saying? He's I guess he would be the freak. But you know, NWA fits, and just the aggression when they were younger, and the attitude that they had, that was us. You know, we all had a chip on our shoulder. We all worked for JP, and we all felt like other companies should be giving us a chance, and they never did. And you know, it fit everything that we did. It was the same mindset. Plus, you know, and going back to Fat Frank was one of the first guys that, like, white guys that I knew that would sing NWA and Eazy-E and Ice Cube. He knew all the words to everything. And, you know, part of the things that me and Jake were talking about was how when Jake and his friends would go for a ride with Frank driving, Frank would start blasting NWA, and he'd be like, "Oh, you love it." You know what I mean? Like, oh, please. But, you know, he loved that music. So it was fitting that he was our boss, and we all loved the same stuff. You know what I mean? You would never think it, but that was the way JP was. It was just diverse, and you know, it fit. It didn't fit one thing; it fit everything. You know, and that's kind of how we are, and that's how I see NWA. If you look at where everybody is now, they're all in different places in their lives, and it's really just a wide, eclectic mix of all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's crazy to think how just the influence that hip hop has on just like American culture in general. You know, it might not get the respect it deserves, but it influences everything from, you know, the Black and Latino kids in the hood to, you know, white kids in the suburbs. Like, everybody listens to it, everybody relates to it, you know, somehow or some way, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like you said, I grew up in New York. I grew up in Bay Ridge, but at the same time, I had family all over and that I would stay with. So, like, my cousin Noel, he lived in Coney Island, and you know, I would stay with him every other week, give or take. And he was, when I was about 6 or 7, I would say he's about 15, 16, and he was growing up when Run DMC was blowing up and when Slick Rick was blowing up. And, you know, Noel was, when I was coming up, he was the male definition of cool for me. You know, he had leather bomber jackets and the Adidas, you know, shell-toed Adidas with no laces, and the Kango hats. And he was rocking all that, the big fat gold chains. And, you know, like, when I see him, I'd be like, damn, you know, and like, he had older brothers, but they just, they were too old. They were like in their 20s, whereas Noel was 15, 16. So like I was like, oh man, he's so cool. You know what I mean? And I'd try to hang out and pick his brain for certain things, and but as cool as he was, my cousin Loki, his sister Cess, she's the absolute epitome of cool in my world.
Yeah.
Growing up, she had the giant, like her room had all kinds of posters, but vividly, I look up and I see in her room, she had the giant Purple Rain poster with him on the motorcycle. And everything she did was cool. And she ended up being a rapper and producer. And she had, like, growing up, it wasn't uncommon to see Mos Def hang out with her, because Mos Def and her and his brother Dante, they formed a rap group in the early 90s. They have a single out and like a video, and like, I would see them. And she was best friends with Hurricane G, who did songs with Diddy, and she was married to Eric Sermon from EPMD. And I got to meet EPMD, Redman, Hurricane G, a couple of other people in the business through her. And, it was pretty dope. You know what I mean? Cause like, I was like maybe 8, 9, 10. I don't know who these people are at first, but then when she told me, I was like, damn, that's what's up. And like, I had a crush on Hurricane G for a hot second. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, then I thought about it. It's like, she's probably carrying a razor blade in her mouth and will beat her ass. You know what I'm saying? So, she's kind of scary, but it's funny because I talked to Homicide, and Homicide knew her from back in the day, and he said the same thing. He was like, she was hot as hell, but she was scary. I can imagine. But then, like, I would go to like my grandfather's house. My grandfather lived not too far from Bed-Stuy, and my older cousins, Max and Roger, again with the Run DMC influence. They had the Sherlin coats, and they had the thick frame glasses, and they were cool as hell to me. I would see them, and it would only be for like maybe 5-10 minutes that they were stopped by, and then they had to go. And like, I don't know, I just felt like they weren't drug dealers, but I was like, damn, they're living the life. That's what's up. You know what I mean? But it was all hip hop influence. So they were listening to Melly Mel and Grandmaster Flash, and like I said, Beastie Boys, they were awesome at the time. So like everybody was listening to Beastie Boys, and Run DMC and Slick Rick. Like those are the names I think of as a kid coming up in New York that like, man, I grew up I was very fortunate to grow up where I did, even though at times it seemed like it was rough because we didn't have money and stuff like that. But as long as I had a radio, we were good, And, it helped influence a lot of stuff later on in my life and my career wrestling. I mean, if you don't say Hit Squad, and like if you say you're a Hit Squad fan, you don't say that you think of Snoop Dogg, Pump Pump right away, then you're not a fan of the Hit Squad. There's people that I've never met before who are in the business and who are on TV, and they're coming up to me saying Pump Pump. You know what I mean? And like, it's just something that, I mean, when I was coming up, Samu and Maddie, when they were in ECW, ECW, they were Samoan Island Tribe. They were using Pump Pump, and there were a few gangsters, and I always thought the song was badass. Like when I was playing football, that was one of the songs that used to get me hyped up, that like I would smack people up with it, you know what I mean? And so I was like, well, if it's working like that, I'm on football, I'm gonna do this in wrestling. And it just so happened that like, I had no idea about the Samoan West Coast culture until like Booyah Tribe came out, and you got to see them rocking, the wet braids and, just rocking the West Coast style. And it was like, damn, son, I thought Samoans were only, these head shrinking looking dudes in WWE. I had no idea they were gangsters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, opened up a lot of stuff too, as far as music, because, you weren't seeing all kinds of stuff like that. You only saw, whatever, like you didn't know that people in Iran was getting down to Biggie. You thought they all looked like the Iron Sheik and they were rocking camels on their gear. You know what I'm saying? Because
facts,
grew up, but then as the world opened up, you got to see, it's like, damn, hip hop is huge.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me tell you, going to Japan, they sang better than me, like, with less of an accent than anything. And we were like, yeah, this was up, son. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the B-boy culture is huge there, and like all this awesome stuff in Japan, and it's still huge now. And like, but you see that it's taken on now. It's taken on its own flow and flavor, and it's like, damn, man, I wish I could have been there more for that to witness that live. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. So if you were composing your own playlist, we'll call it the Monsta Mack playlist, what would be artists that you would definitely have to have on that playlist?
So with hip hop, Cypress Hill, definitely. Old Cypress Hill, Ice Cube, Biggie, Pac, you know, the basics of hip hop. I love Eminem. You know, my girl Liza and I, when we first met 20 years ago, we bonded over the second Eminem album, you know, Marshall Mathers album. And, you know, it was something that was like, damn, this is what's up. You know what I mean? Eminem is awesome. At the same time, like, I don't listen to a lot of it, but I've been cool with them. We shared locker rooms. We've had awesome talks, but I'm cool with ICP, you know, Same Clown Posse is a bunch of cool ass dudes. And, you know, like I said, we shared locker rooms, we talked, and it was, you know, when Ring of Honor first started and, you know, back in the early 2000s, you know, but at the same time, I got to know them a little better, you know, and they have their artist Tech Nine, and some of his jams are, you know, pretty awesome, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm more of a, you know, a more laid back kind of dude. So I like stuff that's got a good flow, more of like Today Was a Good Day from Ice Cube. You know, I do like to get hyped up when I need to for like wrestling. So I'll go to like something more hard, like an NWA, and, you know, I'd Rather Be With You is something that I always love hearing before a show. And even Meek Mill, I like listening to Meek Mill, Dreams and Nightmares before a show. That was the ritual that me and Moff had before every Beyond show when we were teaming up for that run. We'd show up to the building, sit in the car for an extra 6 minutes, and listen to Meek Mill's Dreams and Nightmares. You know, but at the same time, like, I could listen to Sugar Hill Gang, and I could listen to Nas. I love Nas. When we used to wrestle LAX, Proud and Powerful, Ortiz Santana, it came out to Nas, New York State of Mind. And I always come out first when I knew we were going to wrestle them, because that song gets me hyped. Like, just to see the whole crowd bob their head to the beat, and then just that opening verse, and like, just listen to Nas spit, and it's like, damn, son, this is dope. I can't wait. Let's go party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just feel it. Like, it brings it out. I mean, you can see now how my mood changed just thinking about it, because like, I sit and I think, and I'm like, damn, I miss, you know, going to war with them, but at the same time, I miss listening to their music and just you know what I mean? Like, it was awesome. But then, like, when I listen to Homicide and he comes out to The Truth with the Kill Bill opening, and I was there when our boys Scott and Dom mixed it for him, and you know, like, it felt natural. You know, it was so dope. We all love Kill Bill. We went to go see it in the movies together. And then The Truth was something that always just, it felt raw, and it felt like it was from the projects, and like, it felt gritty and grimy. You know what I mean? Like, you felt everything he said. And to this day, you still feel that. And like, when he would come out to it, and especially Ring of Honor, once they started using those metal gates for the guardrails, and the fans would bang to the beat, you know, when Homicide won the title, as he's making his entrance, like, I had to sit out in the crowd, wait for my spot, whatever. But I'm listening to that, and I'm getting so hyped up. I'm like, yeah, let's go. You know what I mean? I was ready. Like, you could have shot me. I would have just kept going, you know, because I was just feeling it. So, like, you know, it's my range is very wide when it comes to hip hop. Actually, just music in general. But, you know, I also consider like some house and freestyle hip hop, because if you look at how it formed in the early 80s and melted into the late 90s or late 80s with hip hop. Like I said, Case Heaven, you know, he started out with TKA. TKA was pure house freestyle, you know, Cynthia and Johnny O type music. And then, you know, Come Baby Come hits, and it's like, this is hip hop. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'll listen to, you know, a Shannon or a Stevie B or Lil Susie, and to me, that's hip hop too, you know? So it really is a wide range of stuff that, you know, you can consider hip hop. But when it comes to that, I think of, like I said, the influence that my cousin Sess had. My mom had a lot of musical influence on me too. So like my mom and my older sister, they would listen to stuff like cleaning house on a Saturday. So like I'd hear, you know, everything from Culture Club to, you know, Bon Jovi to whatever was hot during the day. And but my mom always stuck with, you know, freestyle and house. And she likes stuff like Kraftwerk, which, you know, if you know anything about music, you know that Africa Bambaataa sampled the stuff, you know, for that early stuff, you know, and it always came out dope, you know. But then like she liked Herbie Hancock too, and Herbie, you know, his beats were b-boy music. So like, you know, you always got the bom bom bom, you know what I mean? You felt it. So like it's all over the place for me, basically.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. A lot of diversity. I like that for sure. Something I always think about too that's big that I feel like it happens a lot in New York. Are you into battle rap? You listen to any of that? Watching any of those?
So I was actually at a couple of just local competitions, and the only reason why I did it was because as I started getting into wrestling, and you know, my promos, like I always had decent promos, but like it wasn't aggressive where like, you know, you just say the generic things, you sound, you're angry because you're yelling, but you know, then you pick up, you're like, oh, all right, there's going to be this. So I checked out maybe about 5 altogether, you know, different competitions, and you just feel the flow and you see how they're reading the crowd, and you how they're listening to the music, and you can see them, but while they're getting dissed, they're preparing, you know what I mean? And they're feeding whatever off of each other. And a good promo in wrestling is 2 people feeding off each other. You know, I've always felt that. You know, like when Jay Lethal and Ric Flair just freestyled it, and they didn't really even talk English. They just like thugs, but it was like the best nonsense. You know what I mean? So like, you know, it's stuff like that, you know, that it helps. I think if more people did stuff like that, you know, checked out, you know, freestyle battles, or go to like a real life, you know, stand-up comedy, you understand to read the crowd better, you know. And with freestyle, you know, competition, battle rap, you have to understand what the crowd is into, you know. You can sit there and say, I'm gonna cut your mother up and call her a slut because I'm the big schmuck. You know what I mean? Like, you can say something. They don't want to hear gore. They want to hear something clever, you know. And that's where you pull out your Common and you pull out your Guru. You know what I mean? And you got to feed that. But then there are some that just want to hear you, you know, get as crazy as you can with the diss. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Your mother's organs are gonna collapse. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, some crazy stuff.
Yeah. But you have to learn to read the crowd, and you have to also understand, you know, what's the mind frame of the guy that is throwing disses at you. You know, if you don't understand where he's coming from, same thing with wrestling. If you don't understand where he's coming from, you're never gonna pick up, and it's never gonna flow good. You know, if you understand where he's coming from, what his mind frame is, makes it a lot easier to have a great flow, you know. But I remember in high school we used to watch tapes of battle rap, and yeah, it was. I mean, dude, it's like a sporting event. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. It is. You know, I think it doesn't get you know, a lot of light shined on it like it should. I think it's amazing. I'm a big fan of like the you know, Ultimate Rap League, URL, the Smack, and a lot of, you know, there's a lot of other guys that have tried to come out with their things as well. But like I said, I think it relates to wrestling like so well. It's the same thing. It's controlling the crowd, and a lot of times it's performance. It's like, you know, it's believability on some part, but at the same time, it's like, you know, do you really think these guys are just going to go shoot up everything? It's like, no, but it's like, just enjoy it, you know?
Yeah.
But I'll say the one thing about battle rap I always found like weird was the guys who do battle rap, yo, they can do like the best disses in the world. But then a lot of them they fell at like making good songs on to succeed in that. I always thought that was weird, that combination of that.
Yeah, but see, I think that's why so many people like Eminem, because Eminem could do both. He could
Yeah,
battle
true.
and he can entertain. You know, it's a very fine line of, you know, being an entertainer and being, you know, a battle rapper, in the same way that it's a fine line of being an indie wrestler superstar and a TV wrestler superstar. You know,
Yeah,
there's limits to both, and it's hard to mix and be good at both of them. You know,
true.
I mean, look at how many guys leave the WWE or any TV wrestling. They try to work on the indies and it's not as good, you know, because they're used to a certain style. But then you watch guys that should be awesome on TV that are great in the indies and they have great careers. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, you could be good at one, you can't be both. It's hard to be good at both, you know, and the same thing happens for battle rap. But it's funny, I was just going to say, there's a guy that I like watching on YouTube. His name is Gully Boy. I don't know if you ever seen him.
Gully Boy, yep.
So he just put out a video not too long ago about the craziest battle rap video that he ever had. He ever seen. And dude, it's awesome with his commentary. But then you listen to him, you're like, damn, some of these guys really suck, though.
Yeah. That's how it's not made for everybody, man. It's not me. It's definitely not made for everybody for sure. You know, when I was thinking about that, I was kind of getting those vibes yesterday. I know something that you enjoyed. I know a lot of people didn't enjoy was Raw Underground. You know, what are your thoughts on that? What do you think they're doing? I was confused, to be honest. I don't have an opinion on it yet. How'd you feel about that?
I loved it. I thought it was great. Like the thing that kills me is wrestling fans.
Yeah.
Yes, we all know they got this from, and listen, there was stuff before this, but we all know that William Regal was pictured last year and the year before and the year before that at Bloodsport, whether it was Matt Riddle's or Josh Barnett's, they were there. They've been watching. They know what's up. Listen, they have people that watch the indies. So,
yeah, of course.
You know, I know for a fact, you know what I mean? I've talked to people about it. People that are left, and they've told me, you know, they know all about you, and like, no way, yeah, no, they watch all your DVDs, whatever the hell you put out, you know. Yes, it was definitely Bloodsport. However, there was other people who did it before Bloodsport. There's people who did it before them, and this is where the wrestling fans kill me. Oh, they just bit off of that, and they didn't even do it good, and that's the part that kills me, not the actual thing. I think it should be its own half-hour, 45-minute weekly thing away from Raw, in that the way that it got over Dolph Ziggler, right? All these years, Ziggler's been the consummate WWE pro wrestler, right? This showed he has an amateur background. He was in Kent State, he fought amateur wrestling, was awesome. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he won a championship or something along those lines. You know what I mean? But you never seen it up until yesterday. You know, they introduced that new big guy, 7 foot tall. He looked like a monster, right? The last few months since WrestleMania, the War Machine, because I never know what their WWE name is.
Viking Raiders.
Viking Raiders. I like calling them War Machine because that's how I know them.
Yeah.
In one segment, they went from being clowns to being legitimate, and you believe them. But then ultimate icing on the cake was MVP and his guy coming out. And the first one was Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley, who's been in WWE now for, 2 years? He hasn't looked dominating in the entire time. It's before he left the WWE originally. You know what I mean? Like, he looked like a monster. But then Shelton Benjamin takes off his shirt. Shelton Benjamin went into Kurt Angle rage mode. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything just pow, 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 and then raped that kid. You know, dude, the doctor bomb that Bobby Lashley hit out of nowhere. I said it. I was like, he didn't tell that kid he was doing that. He just grabbed him and did it. You know what I mean? Like, it was. And then MVP got to show. What I'm getting to is, with pro wrestling, all these guys, and listen, wrestling's inclusive. Wrestling's for everyone. But for years, for decades, It was built on the fact that when you saw someone in the ring, you believed that they could whip anybody's ass in the building. It didn't matter who it was. They could beat up everybody. And that was what built it. And that's what made money for decades. You know what I mean? The entertainment part is cool. Don't get me wrong. But every once in a while, you need to show these people the animal that they are. You need to remind them, oh, yeah, no, they can definitely pick up a 225-pound guy with one hand. You know what I mean? And slam him on his neck and look nasty and be vicious. And what I like ultimately, obviously they're going to bring it back for another week, maybe, a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like they're setting up the possibility of Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. And what I like about that, again, Brock Lesnar has been this indestructible beast for the last 5 years or whatever, how many years it's been since he came back. Unstoppable. Who's really dominated Brock Lesnar? Nobody. Goldberg, that's it. You know what I mean? But, this makes Bobby Lashley look like not only can he destroy Brock Lesnar, he could rip his body piece by piece, limb from limb, and it looks legitimate. He needs that. If you want me to watch that, don't just put it on WrestleMania. Build up Bobby Lashley in this. He's been looking awesome with MVP. They were doing this whole thing with Rusev and Lana, and it's a shame because I think Rusev would have fit right in with those guys. That's a murder. If you look at those three guys and you throw in Rusev, that's a murder squad.
Yeah, for sure.
And this legitimizes them in the most utmost way. What kills me is because there's so many geeks who watch wrestling now, and I mean that in the most loving way. I'm talking about kids that didn't play sports, that never, felt a foul in their life,
Yeah.
They're all like, oh, that's not believable. Really? Because last time I checked, Bobby Lashley is legit an amateur wrestler. Shelton Benjamin used to throw around Brock Lesnar. Legit amateur wrestler. You know what I mean? MVP, one of my boys. MVP is a jiu-jitsu judo master.
Mm-hmm.
Belts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody that did something last night had something legitimate to say. And I don't have faith in WWE in that they're going to be able to continue to make it look great. I do like the production. They could have gotten rid of the stripper girls, but at the same time, for someone like me, it fit because it's a men's club. You know what I'm saying? If you look at how it was set up, it's supposed to be in the back room, you know what I'm saying? Where not everybody has access to it. But see, because everybody wants to be included in everything, they're going to complain, oh, the girls, blah, blah, blah. But listen, 5 years ago, how old are you, D?
I'm 33.
All right. So 5 years ago, you were 28. You tell me you wouldn't have been down going to that building, looking at the girls dance and people beat the crap out of each other?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Red hot, young-blooded males. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's going to be, you could already see people already like, take the girls out and maybe I'll believe it. But
oh, man.
If you look at it, then the other thing that made me laugh was, if you look at the setup, everybody's saying, oh, they took it from Bloodsport, and Bloodsport took it from Chikara, and Chikara took it from whoever else, whatever. WWE made a movie about it called No Holds Barred.
Yeah.
It's the same setup.
Same thing, right? Yep.
What's the difference? But I loved it. Great, and I really do hope something comes out of it. Like I said, if they do it just to build up, guys who have legitimate backgrounds and to build up the Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley thing, I would definitely be into it. Hopefully Matt Riddle shows up soon. Drew Gulak, maybe Daniel Bryan. I mean, dude, Riddle and Daniel Bryan getting involved. And the best part, you can hear Joe salivating, Samoa Joe salivating on commentary. He's like, oh, man, I need to go there. You know what I mean? Because that's perfect for Joe. Joe MC or as a fighter would be awesome in that situation. Shane's great, but Shane can only do it once or twice. Get him out, put Joe in. You put Joe in, I guarantee you. You let Joe have some creative say. You let the guys have creative say on how they want to present it. I guarantee you it's a home run. And as long as it's a WWE controlled thing, though, they stumbled onto something, and then once they see it's on their shoe, they're going to wipe it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, true. Yeah, I learned, some of those things that you just give WWE a chance and see what they can do with it. That was the same thing with I think people made that same mistake with like Bray Wyatt when he was doing the weird stuff, and people were like, "What the hell is this?" And then it turns into like one of the best things into WWE. It's just like you just gotta wait sometimes with those guys. I will say with the MVP Lashley and Shelton though, I always loved MVP, and they give me those vibes from when they had the Beatdown Clan and Impact Wrestling, and I wish that could have went longer. It was MVP Joe, Homicide, like I think Kenny too as well. And I was just like, yo, those dudes. I was like that was a great group, and I think this is something that can be similar to what that was. All those guys were amazing. I think all these guys, they're amazing too. Maybe add one more person and, see where it goes.
I think if they did some back, like behind the scenes of them either like training or chilling, vibing, listening to music, kind of like how they do those promos with an Impact with Desmond and Zach, where it's like that 70s show just chilling, in the smoke. If they gave them some promos like that, where it showed them in their environment, chilling, listening to music, the good thing is they're being very relaxed with them and the whole group. You saw the one dude was, Shelton was wearing the Shad Gaspard shirt, you know what I mean? And like, they're letting them do things out of the box, which I like. And I'm pretty sure that's MVP's influence. When I was in Brooklyn backstage, you can see MVP. He's a master of his craft, but he definitely knows how to work the room. And I hope that he gets a chance to be a lot more creative with certain things and with certain people, because I think that if they do, it opens up a lot of things. Because listen, man, we're talking about hip hop. MVP is WWE hip hop. I mean, he songs on iTunes. I bought a couple of them, I listened to one or two of them, you know what I mean? But like, he is hip hop, and he's, like I said before, he's the definition of cool in the WWE right now, and I think if they brought in maybe a Naomi, if they brought her in, I think, man, how badass would that group be? She's a elite, and nobody could touch her. They keep holding her back for whatever reason. But if you let her open up, put her, foot to the pedal, she'll destroy everybody. It don't matter who it is. She's been doing stuff for a long time, but for whatever reason, they're holding her back. But I think in a group like this, in a situation and a setting like that, with MVP, Lashley, Shelton, listen, steel sharpens steel, and they would definitely make her a better performer, better athlete, better wrestler, better entertainer. And I think people would see it and enjoy watching her be in a group like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that would definitely be good for her. Now, I know a lot of the fans have been voicing their disapproval with, the way Naomi has been being booked. So that could be something that could help her out for sure. That would be good for her.
I really don't. I don't pop for a lot of people's entrances, but when she feel the glow, like that's friggin' awesome. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's dope.
Setup is dope, and like I said, she's such an amazing wrestler. She's by far. Listen, Charlotte is the golden child, but if they were to go by pure talent and ability, Naomi outshines everybody by far. She outshines most of the guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, I've talked to Homicide, I've talked to Key. They've trained with her, when she first started. They all know how incredibly talented she is. And she needs to be given, some spotlight, because I think it would be a shame if they were to release her and she either walks away from wrestling or she doesn't have the shine, because she's in her prime right now, and the talent in WWE is amazing, for women. So she should be. Why aren't we seeing her with Asuka? Why aren't we seeing her with Charlotte, Becky, Bayley? Even bring up some of the other ones, like the Iconics, bring them up, but for whatever reason, they're not. And, but the good thing is, like you said, the fans are starting to recognize that she's being held back. And it's kind of like, huh? Why? She got the entrance, she's got the charisma, the promos. When she won in Orlando, that was one of the biggest pops of that WrestleMania. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It was pretty dope. You know what I mean? And they definitely need to capitalize more on her.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes. How does it feel when you see guys like Warhorse getting opportunities to be on AEW and challenge Cody for the title? Guys that you booked in Jersey All Pro, Matt Riddle, Keith Lee. I remember those guys here in Jersey. You putting them on a card, and we're just like, "Yo, this is a dope match." And then next thing you know, these guys are signed to WWE. Like how does that feel to you? Do you get like a sense of enjoyment when you see things like that?
Definitely. I always get a sense of pride in knowing that there's certain guys that I've helped. As I'm getting older, I still love wrestling, don't get me wrong, but my desire to be a part of the ring is, dying. Not for any negative reason. It's just, I have other interests. Like I was saying before, with video games and with music. I mean, it doesn't get any more, video game music. I modded a PlayStation Classic, and the first game I had was MTV Music Generator. So I could, you know what I mean? Like that's something that I've always been down with, you know what I mean? But it's still cool to me that the guys that I chose to help bring up, Santana, Ortiz, look, is there anybody who's as popular of a tag team as them right now in AEW? It's hard to say, you know what I mean? They're one of the top. Even Private Party, me and Moff got our hands on them, and then I kept trying to help them do other stuff, you know what I mean? Like House of Glory did their thing with them. Now they're one of the top tag teams in AEW. It's awesome to see Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston's someone that back to the Bayonne days, I knew that, I knew of him. And then as, time went on, I got to know him better. He was at my wedding, you know what I mean? He was one of the few guys in the biz that was at my wedding. He's family, and I'm very proud to see not only did he perform great, but then he got signed off of it, I really wanted to see him in the NWA, challenge for the NWA title, because I think Nick Aldis is an amazing athlete, and I think that been phenomenal, you know what I mean? But I'm glad that they gave him the mic, because if they don't give him the mic, then it's like taking the mouth off of Deadpool. You know what I'm saying? Talk, man. If Eddie Kingston talks, he's gonna get a butt every 18 inches, And I'm glad that they recognize his talent. And then Warhorse is, I said it the other day, he's somebody that when he was, I think he was like 18, 17, maybe around that age. I saw him at Joel Maximo's Ludus, and he was with the Vikings, and dude, they were just, everything about them was just this massive amount of energy, and I loved it. And he was a smaller one, so he was taking a lot more bumps, but he was also doing a lot of cool stuff. So as soon as I could get him in, I wanted the Vikings in more. I brought him and the Vikings, and then as soon as I could get him in, I brought him in, and they were getting bookings all over the East Coast because of the stuff they did at JAP. Like you said, Keith Lee, I won't take credit for Keith Lee. That was Beyond. They the ones that took the chance to put him with Dijak, and now you get to see him and Dijak go nuts. Riddle's the same thing. Riddle, I met him at Beyond. He's mad cool. Listen, man, if there's anybody you want to get on this podcast to talk about music, it's Matt Riddle. You know what I mean? But we bonded, and he was down to work for JAP because I was going to put him with Loki. You know what I mean? And we were going to build that up, and it just didn't work out that way. But it is cool to see. Even Bandito Jr. Bandito Jr. has been someone I've known since he's like 12, and now he's one of the top referees for the WWE. Sean Bennett. Sean Bennett is a pure JP guy. He started out at Kevin Knights, but he was JP official, and he's had a job now for almost 10 years, something like that, give or take. And it's cool as hell to see all these dudes that we all grew up together and we all work together, and they're all doing things. And even Kenny Omega, dude, Kenny Omega was a JP guy way before, and that's Danny DeMonto. I can't take props on that, but that's Danny DeMonto. But then I see guys like Nick Gage blowing up, and I see guys like Schlack. They're not TV level, but as good as TV as you could get. You know what I mean? And like, it's cool because I had a little bit of a hand. Kyle the Beast, man, I'm dying. I don't understand why Kyle the Beast ain't making millions right now.
Seriously.
You know, you guys have been seeing it. You know what I mean? So like, I just, it frustrates me that some guys don't get, but I am happy to see a lot of the guys that, you know, I've helped get somewhere and do something and be the top, you know. And listen, man, ultimately, you know, all I ever wanted was for the younger guys in the business coming up under me to leave it in their hands and feel secure that they were going to take the business to new heights and make it better. And a lot of those guys are through with that, you know. And it is cool. It's like a father seeing the kids, you know, grow up, get a job, get married, live an awesome life, and know that it's your hands that help mold that clay, you know. And listen, I can't take all the credit by myself. That's just wrong. But I know that I helped a lot, and I know that I helped them get to that next level. And then once they got to that next level, they did it, you know. But it is cool for me to see that, you know.
Yeah,
even
yeah.
you and Andrew, man, you guys, everybody wants to talk to you guys, you know. Like, remember in the beginning, you guys are all scared, timid, you know, especially afraid to approach anybody, you know. But now when I look at what, you know, whenever Wrestling IQ comes up, I see all these top names in the business, and I'm like, damn, when the hell did that happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
And I didn't even know.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy to think who we've gotten on, you know, how far we've gotten.
Yeah.
But hey, man, you know, we keep grinding and, you know, keep trying to, you know, do it. You know, something that's also interesting, kind of like, you know, for Warhorse and for even Eddie Kingston, you know, they got their shot at the TNT Championship, being on AEW. I love what they're doing, how they're bringing in those independent guys. I know you said, yeah, you know, your time in the ring is kind of, you know, it's kind of dwindling away where, you know, you don't want to do it as much. But is that something that you think of when you see AEW doing things like that? You're like, hey, that could be me. Because, I mean, I think on the indie scene, you're a guy that a lot of people respect and will put their, you know, back behind Monsta Mack. To see Monsta Mack fighting Cody, like, I would enjoy to see that, man.
I appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you. Honestly, you know, when I'm a very honest person, I'm a very tell you straightforward to your face about things. And to be honest, as I get older, I'm even more so like that. I don't care to sugarcoat things. If I was in my 20s, instead of wasting my potential the way that I did for a large part of my career, I would have focused, you know, trying to get to an AEW to wrestle Cody. Instead, you know, I let a lot of things get in the way of me reaching the success that I should have reached, that my potential dictated that I should have reached. I'm not saying feel sorry for me. I'm not saying, you know, here's a sob story, blah, blah, blah. None of that. Because we're all men and women in charge of what we do. I tell a lot of people that, you know, don't be like me. Don't waste the opportunity. You know, reach out and grab if it's there. If it's not there, get yourself in a better position to get there, you know, to be able to reach out. And before November of 2019, I would have been like, nah, that's not for me.
Yeah.
But then once I got to be backstage at WWE for the first time and witness and see, and then the second show I was at, mad love from all the NXT guys that I helped get to, you know, not just Keith Lee and, you know, Dijak, but you had Shane Strickland, Roddy, Roderick Strong, Adam Cole. Like, there was a lot of dudes who were coming up to, oh, Steve, what's up? It's good to see you. And, like, it was awesome. And then I get to go Brooklyn, and I get props from, you know, the Good Brothers. I get props from, of all people, Rey Mysterio, that he recognized me from when I was in Boston. And in Boston, he recognized me from JAP, you know. And he was like, oh, big man, what's up? It's good to see you. I haven't seen you since I wrestled Low-Key. I was like, huh? You know what I mean? And, like, it made me feel like I should have been there this whole time, you know, if not wrestling, at least backstage doing something. And the older that I'm getting, I'm more about the backstage experience. You know, wrestling is dope. Listen, no one ever get me wrong. If I could wrestle in front of 20,000 people every night for years, I would, and I would take bullets to the face doing it and keep going. Yeah. But, you know, I as I'm getting older, you know, I'm more realistic about things. I know that I wouldn't be able to, without a few months like Rocky style training, I wouldn't be able to jump in there and give, you know, a great, I could give a good TV match, but I wouldn't give a great TV match. I wouldn't be satisfied with it. Cody's someone though that I told him the story and he thanked me like the whole night. When I was in Ring of Honor in 2003, somewhere around there, it was one of the first Rexplex shows. And in the locker room, Dusty Rhodes was there. And I was talking to Dusty, just, you know, just talking, picking his brain. All of a sudden, Rick Steamboat comes by. And Ricky Steamboat, you know, him and Dusty are talking, and they involved me in their conversation. Now, to me, I mean, look, I'm 41 years old, 23 years in business. To me, I'm still a nobody. They include me, two huge legends of the 70s, 80s, 90s. They include me in their conversation. So to me, I'm just like, oh, the whole room is looking at me. And they're like, how the hell is Steve talking to them? You know what I mean? You could feel it, you know? But they were talking about their sons. And for someone who I've always felt that, even though my dad is alive and I know my dad and whatever, he's never been a part of my life. So to listen to two fathers talk about their sons, I mean, I was thirsting that. You know, like I was like, damn, son, that's what it's like. And they were talking about their sons, and their sons were going, I think they were in the same town or they were in the same, you know, district or whatever it was. And they were, you know, talking about their wrestling accolades and stuff. And I told Cody about what Dusty had said about him and how he was beaming and so proud of his son. And I said, you know, it's something that every son, you know, even if he never told you, you should know that. That's how he felt. And he always thanked me. And like, I always felt like if I were to ever cut a promo on Cody, that's what I would use. You know what I mean? Like that. And he started tearing up because it was right after Dusty had passed, like maybe a year. And, you know, he was like, thank you so much for telling me that. I really appreciate it. And he had Brandy he called Brandy over and made me tell her what the story was and whatever. And she teared up, you know, and it's good to know that it don't matter who it is. You could tell someone a story about their family that they don't know, and it makes them feel that way. So if it were to ever happen that Cody were to give me an opportunity, I would feel the same way, you know, and I would tell people about it the same way. The same one thing that I hope that Warhorse and Eddie Kingston do, you know, I hope that they explain to people how great the opportunity felt to be given that shot. You know, they don't have to do nothing, especially like Eddie was signed with NWA, you know, they don't have to do nothing, but the fans kept asking for it and they gave it to him. And that's so amazing that, you know, whether you like Cody or not, that he would do that for anybody, you know, that shows what kind of caliber man he is. So if I were to wrestle him, it would be an honor. At the same time, like I said, I'd rather be backstage and help dictate some of the stuff because that's where the real power is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. You know, you've had an amazing career. What would be if you had to pick one song that represents your career? What would that song be? I know it might be kind of hard, but if you had to pick one, what would that song be to represent your career?
Instantly, it's Snoop Dogg Pump Pump because of the Hit Squad and because of how notorious me and Maf are for using it, and we've had remixes of it and used it and stuff. I've always been huge on Biggie Hypnotize.
Yeah.
That's just something that, you know, I feel it. And then like when I'm in heel mode, I like using Jay-Z Where I'm From, because that's just another one that you just feel the mood change. The unfortunately though, like you also need like the proper lighting and the right setup. You know, you can't just, the building can't be bright and, you know, clear. It'd be dark and foggy, like almost gritty and grimy when you come out to it. You know what I mean? I've also enjoyed using Dead Wrong by Biggie and Eminem when we were in Japan. Yeah. When we were in Japan, it's always been like, so whenever it was me and Moff, it was Pump Pump. Whenever it was me, it was Hypnotized. But when it was like me, Moff, and Homicide, it was always Dead Wrong. And I don't even know if people even recognize that. You know what I mean? But that's something that we did consciously, and we always kept it that way. And in Japan, it just, the one big show, like, it's online, you can see it. I'm rapping the whole song, and the crowd is popping that I'm rapping the whole song. So, like, I was just feeling it, you know what I mean? And that's one of those songs that always gets me. But if I were to use a song that's reflective of me, my attitude, my career, it would have to be Patiently Waiting by 50 Cent. It's just something that is proper for everything. You know, I'm always waiting for my chance. I'm always waiting for my opportunity to shine. And when I get it, I do what I can to make sure that nobody forgets that I had that opportunity. You know, there are times where I have so much self-doubt that it's like, man, I don't even want to go to this show. I don't even want to get dressed, you know, but once I get there, I'm in my zone, I'm in my environment, I'm in my jungle, and I just go nuts. You know, I kill, I attack, and I do what I got to do to make sure that, you know, whatever happens, no one could say that I didn't try my hardest to put on a great show. And I actually, when it comes to it, you know, I could say this, nobody's going to say anything otherwise, but when Beyond did the show with House of Glory in 2016, 2017, whatever year it was, they put us on because, you know, we're New York and whatever, and it'd be kind of silly to have a Beyond show in New York without the Hit Squad, you know? Yeah. But I could definitely tell that they didn't have any faith in us, for whatever reason. And I won't go into any of the reasons because there's nothing specific, but you could feel that they were like, this is just a throwaway match. And it was against Private Party. Private Party was the new guys. They really didn't have that much time under their belts as a tag team. And, you know, they weren't really a huge showcase tag team for House of Glory yet. But, you know, I heard about them and Mom heard about them. And we knew that they were good, you know. And we took that opportunity feeling that, you know. And for me, it was a little bit extra personal because Brian XL wouldn't book me for House of Glory. He knew me. We were cool. When we were younger, I'd always help him with whatever matches we had. But, you know, he didn't want to take the chance on using me. He used everybody but me. So we have the match. And, you know, it's safe to say we stole the show with them. And I'm not saying that being egotistical. I'm just saying, looking at the rest of the show, you could feel it. You know, There's something different about that match. We went all out. And directly after the match, you know, Brian came up to me and he was like, man, you know, I thought you were just going to use your ride on the Hit Squad name, and I didn't know that you were taking it serious like this. I thought you were just clowning and whatever, and I owe you an apology. And he apologized like a man, you know, straight up. He didn't book me after that. I think he booked me one time a couple years later, but he apologized. But like, when I listened to 50 Cent, Patiently Waiting, that's what I think of. I think of that Beyond show, Beyond House of Glory show, in that I was waiting for my chance. Homicide didn't understand. I was like, I don't know why he's not booking you. It's like, stupid. I should be on those shows, you know? And we go and we have that match, and I don't even think he went up to Moff. He probably just gave him a fist bump and said, good job. But like, he pulled me to the side and talked to me about it. It's like, I just want to send you an apology, you know, because I slept on you. And like, that song, that's what that's all about. And it fits me, and I've always felt it, you know. That's probably the song I would go with.
That's dope. Yeah, that's a good one to go with. Mm-hmm. I always like that song, definitely. And that was on Get Rich or Die Trying, right?
Yep.
That was one of the best albums ever.
Yeah, of course. The first two albums he dropped, pro albums, commercial albums, were like his best work. And one of my favorite memories is listening to Get in My Car in California and Los Angeles, driving up and down. Go, you know what I mean? Yep. Right, I drop, and all you hear, and me and Joe driving. Joe's, you know what I mean? one of my favorite memories, you know.
50 was the man at that time for sure. He's still the man, just in a different way. I guess we all evolved, right?
Yep.
All right, so here we go. I want to give you 5 rappers, right? And I'm gonna give you their names, and then I want you to give me who you think would be their wrestling equivalent.
Okay.
If you know. So first one would be Tupac.
I mean, that's easy. It's the notorious 187 homicide. Even though he's notorious 187 homicide, but he's more of a Tupac type. But you could also go Eddie Kingston for the more popular vote, I guess you would say. But for me, homicide has always been the spiritual Tupac of pro wrestling. Just his wild, crazy character. But then he has a soft side. You know, Tupac could give you, holler if you hear me, or hit him up, but then he could give you Dear Mama right after. And like, it didn't change anything about him. Like, you didn't say, this guy's soft. Nah, you felt him. You always felt him. And, that's why I think there's so many people to this day who think that he's still alive, because they want his spirit to still be in the world, his presence, because he was something so different. And I feel that with homicide,
Definitely. All right. Biggie Smalls.
So Biggie Smalls is kind of hard because he represents Brooklyn. He represents going through the struggle and coming up and using his humor, his wit. He knew he was ugly. He didn't care. So like, I could apply that towards myself, but I'm not ugly like that. So, and he knows I love him. But if I'm going to say anybody's Biggie, I would have to say the wrestling equivalent to Biggie Smalls is Low Life Louie.
Low Life Louie, yeah.
Yeah, Low Life Louie, man. He grew up in Brooklyn. He knows what it's like to struggle coming up. He did what he had to do. He hustled, he's got his cute little way about him, but at the same time, if he has to get violent, he gets violent. And Biggie did the same thing, in his lyrics. I think Low Life Louie is the best Biggie Smalls.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Jay-Z.
See, there I would go low key. And the reason why I say low key is because low key made it to a level where not too many wrestlers have gone. And the same thing could be said for Jay-Z. Started out in Bed-Stuy, Marcy Projects. Key started out in Brooklyn. He wasn't as ghetto, but coming up when we started wrestling, we were in Jamaica, Brooklyn, Jamaica, Queens. We were in hard parts of New York, East New York, all the time. It wasn't like we had it easy coming up, even though we grew up in Bay Ridge or whatever. But when we were wrestling, we were always traveling through those hoods, and we always got a taste. And low-key definitely, transcended coming up from the ghetto into something big, and he's a businessman. He's not a businessman. I'm a businessman. You know what I'm saying? Low-key to me, so I'll go with him.
All right, that's dope. That's a good pick for that one. Big Pun.
Big Pun is me.
Big Pun. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Big Pun is funny. Big Pun is cute. He could be serious when he wants to be. He's very hilarious. He could tell a good story. The only thing I can't do is rap like him. I mean, I'll never be a rapper. I'm going to eventually, I was thinking about doing something before this whole COVID thing started. I was going to go and try to do a couple of hours of stand-up. And maybe not stand-up, but more storytelling, and I definitely feel like I could definitely, make people laugh and entertain them and bring them through a roller coaster the same way that Pun does. If you listen to his rhymes, he's always taking you through a different story, whether it's something that seems realistic, like him doing a backflip. Actually, like him dealing drugs, and something fake, him doing a backflip. I always feel like we have the same flow and the same ability to make people laugh and go through a whole wide range of emotions.
Nice. All right, and the last one we just talked about him, 50 Cent.
So when you think about 50 Cent, he's the definition of a hustler. He is someone who, I mean, he said it. He could sell ice to an Eskimo, and I think of Eddie Kingston, honestly. You know, I know that might not sit well with Eddie because he's home of the brave, Yonkers, blah blah blah. You know, so you might want to next, but he's 50 Cent. He's someone that can talk his way into anything, and he's charming. He's very he could be for the ladies or he could be for the guys, you know, meaning he's a thug. And Eddie definitely fits that mold. I mean, look at all the people, look at the outpouring of love for Eddie Kingston before he got the match with Cody, people were talking about, you know, give Eddie a shot, you know, and then after he gets a shot, sign Eddie Kingston. What was that? The number 5 trend in the world. You know what I mean? Is Eddie Kingston. To me, that's just Eddie. But, you know, Eddie has this thing. The people feel him, and they've been feeling him, whether it was in CZW, Chikara, Ring of Honor, wherever it was. They felt him, you know. When they brought back LAX into Impact, they felt him. And with Fitty, they feel him. You know, he has some of his haters, you know, like Rick Ross will never be friends. But, you know, they definitely felt Fitty, and I think Eddie Kingston's the closest thing to it right now.
Oh, see, that's dope. That's dope. See, you did that easily, man. I thought it was going to be harder than that.
But again, also, I'm very hip-hop minded.
Yeah, of course.
I've had conversations like this with Homicide where we talk about who would be, you know, Tupac or who would be, you know, whatever. And you know, honestly, I kind of see myself more like a Slick Rick in that Slick Rick tells great stories and, you know, deep stories, but then at the same time he can talk about hitting a chick and like it's one of the funniest songs ever, you know what I mean? And like I feel more that vibe for myself, but you know, anything can happen, anything's possible, and you know, you could put anybody with anybody if you really twist the words around, you know what I mean? So
yeah, facts, yeah, of course. So we know you, me and Andrew, you know, you always, you've given us great advice. You always helped us. There's tons of guys in the business that you have helped and, you know, given good advice to. For you, who is that person to you like you are to us?
I'm being given the 10% warning on my phone and my charger is way out of reach.
Okay.
What you call,
We're wrapping up. It's all good.
Get home from my phone. My phone was like, "Come on, B." There's a lot of people in my life, in my career, who have given me good advice, who've talked to me and told me things that I would have never thought of. Guys like Mikey Whipwreck, who, fresh out of ECW, did JP, saw how me and Moff were. He gave us a lot of great advice. Samu, the great Samu from the Head Shrinkers, and Afa, his father. Between the two of them, I mean, they've dropped so many gems on me. It's incredible. Like I could, you know, make a jewelry store. You know what I mean? Like, but then there's guys like Manny Fernandez, who I was only around him for a couple of months. Manny was so influential to everything that me, Homicide, Key did, and Moth, you know, and he, to this day, he's still like, "Oh, I'm proud of you guys. You guys are my boys." You know what I mean? It's Homicide, you know, I always take things from Homicide, obviously, you know. Key and Moff, you know, with Key, he gave me a little bit more business knowledge. With Moff, he gave me more life knowledge, you know. And then there's guys like Charlie Haas, who gave me wrestling knowledge, and, you know, Bandito Jr. gave me wrestling knowledge. MVP, I said it. I was like, you know, if it wasn't for MVP, I would have had a hard time being in the backstage in Brooklyn, because I was nervous, because it's Brooklyn, man. You know, and I grew up in Brooklyn, and it's the Barclay WWE, but MVP was there. He was like, "Come with me," and like he hooked it up for me, you know. And he's somebody that we shoot the breeze with. And then there's my boy Guapo, that we talk about life, and he's somebody that a lot of people don't like, but we've always had a great relationship, and it don't matter what anybody else thinks. You know what I mean? But then, it's simple as my mom. My mom is very outside the box with her thinking, and she's always been fair. Whereas some parents are like, you're my star, you're my prize, you're my world. My mom cared, but at the same time, my mom was, look, you're not going to get anywhere if you don't get in shape, or you're not going to do anything if you don't, save your money or eat right or whatever it is, and whereas a lot of other parents are like, no, go ahead, baby, it's all right, eat that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Has always been fair. If it wasn't for my mom, I was, she had a lot of gay friends coming up, and I would have never met any gay people coming up,
Mm-hmm.
in the way that, like, there's a lot of white people who are like, oh, I've never met any black people because they weren't around. During the 90s, it wasn't as prevalent. They had their own little areas, but my mom, she hung out with a lot of gay people, and they were always cool. She made it easy to not judge. And, that's from my mom. That's her character. And I picked up a lot from her. So, there's a lot of people who have their touches and their sprinkles, on me and my characteristics and stuff. And I'm very grateful for the people I've met and I've had in my life, because my circle's very small. I don't like a lot of people. I know I'm friendly. I'm friendly. I can entertain people. But in reality, I don't like being around a lot of people. I don't like doing a lot of things with people. I just like having the guys I like hanging out with. Some days I want to hang out with, Homicide and Key. Some days I want to hang out with Hernandez. Some days I want to hang out with Chris Dickinson, Mike and Angel, LAX, Santana Ortiz. But do I want to hang out with all of them? Probably not, because there's just too much going on, and I like keeping things, quiet and reserved. Yeah. But ultimately, I'm happy with guys that are like me, like-minded, guys like you and Andrew, who appreciate what I tell them, and you give me stuff, and I love talking to you guys. You guys are a lot of fun to talk to for me. Guys like Matron, the JP film crew,
Mm-hmm.
Scott, those are my brothers. Low Life Louie, another brother. Guys like that I grew up with and I've known for a long time, that I can be comfortable with, and I just, no matter what, ultimately, I'm grateful for everything that anybody who's ever taken time to invest in either talking to me or watching me or listening to me. I'm grateful because, again, I say it every time. I'm a nobody. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. Probably wasn't supposed to do anything special, but somehow I lucked out and I got real lucky and I got to travel the world and do a lot of cool things and meet a lot of cool people. And I'm always going to be appreciative of that. That's just something. And it's from my mom. You appreciate what you get. You get what you get. You don't get upset, and you learn to love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, facts. No, definitely. And man, I don't even have to tell you, how important you've been to me and Andrew, and helping our careers in the podcast world. And we've exceeded far beyond what we ever expected that we would exceed to. And definitely from me and from Andrew for sure. We both wish you the best, and we'll look forward to having those chats with you later on down the road at all these events that we see you at and all that. And I just want to say,
video game nonsense set up next time. We've done wrestling, we did music this time.
mm-hmm.
We need to get another maybe another music podcast and then a video game podcast.
I got you, man. I got you. You trying to make me work, man. but I definitely appreciate you taking the time out, man, and coming on to the show. And I felt you were pivotal in helping us launch Wrestling IQ 101. And I wanted you to be one of my first guests that helps blast off this podcast as well.
No, thank you. I'm always proud of you guys, and I'm always willing to help. And again, I'm appreciative of you even asking me to be on. And it didn't, not just this show, but the very first time we ever did Wrestling IQ. And, I'm just, like I said, I'm grateful to have you guys in my life, because you guys are some of my favorite people to talk to, and it's not just for podcasting, it's just life in general. I mean, we hold court whenever we see each other in person, You know what I mean? And that's some real nonsense. So you guys are some of my favorite people to ever talk to. So
Definitely appreciate that. If anyone wants to connect with you, any social media plugs or anything like that you want to drop?
pretty much just on Twitter, Steve Mack DHS. I killed my Facebook. I might bring back a Monsta Mack fan page at some point, but honestly, social media is getting rough with all the nonsense going on. Too many people are home for way too long and bored out of their minds, and they're ruining a lot. So, it's hard. But yeah, Steve Mack DHS on Twitter is definitely where you can reach me.
Awesome. Definitely make sure you follow him. Check him out. You can see all of Monsta Mack's great matches that he had. Singles alongside Moff with the Hit Squad. A lot of classic stuff there. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow RapnWrestle on Twitter, Instagram, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff. Just type in RapnWrestle podcast and all that good stuff will come up. Once again, Mac, thank you. And for this episode, we are out.
Peace out.